Hello, my name is Blossoms and welcome to another Genshin Impact video. And today we're going to be going over our Xinyan team composition guide here. I've come with some pretty fun teams that I really enjoy. I've been testing them out in theory crafting, etc. And I've been having a blast actually using her, as I think she's a really fun character. But obviously I didn't come up with every team in the game. However, if you have a team that you really enjoy with Xinyan in the comments below, please go ahead and let me know. I would love to see your different team builds in the comments as well as your theory behind them. But before we go ahead and actually show off these teams here, it is very important to know the different elemental reactions in the game, as well as the different elemental resonances, as that is an integral part to any team building in this game. It's going to make your teams much more comprehensive in terms of the amount of content they can actually tackle. Also, before getting into the teams here, it's important to note Xinyan's kit and the most important aspects of it. And the two most important aspects to Xinyan is the fact that she gives a shield that can provide a pyro damage over time effect if used properly, as well as the fact that when you have that shield up, it gives whoever is currently on the field a physical damage bonus. Alright, getting into the first team here, we have Xinyan, Razor, Qiqi, and Venti. With alternatives of Sucrose for Venti and Diona for Qiqi, and even Fischl for Razor. The basic concept behind this team is creating a ton of elemental reactions and still having a source of crowd control that's going to keep all your enemies together, as that is going to benefit you the most for a character like Xinyan, who needs multiple enemies for her shield to proc the damage over time, as well as allow Razor to do as much damage as possible since he's a Claymore user and can hit multiple people at the same time. Now, I think these characters are the best in slot. However, you can easily swap out any of these characters and still have a fantastic team. The amount of reactions you get is incredible. You can start off with somebody like Xinyan, getting that damage over time, and then swapping to Qiqi, getting her E going, and then you're getting free melt procs, and then you can gather everybody with your Nemo character, and then finally switch to Razor, which is going to go ahead and start dealing that physical damage, and Qiqi's skill will still be around to provide that superconductive bonus. If you have Diona, obviously you're going to have to play that a little bit differently to get that superconductive proc, because superconduct is going to make sure you deal more physical damage, and that is very important for a physical damage team. But anyway, essentially, you're going to want to have all of everybody's abilities go down, and then you're going to want to have Razor on the field to deal as much physical damage as possible to everybody in an area. This is an incredibly fun team. I didn't expect it to be as fun as it was. I took this team into Spiral Abyss minus Venti because I actually don't have him. I have Sucrose, so I popped her into the team, and I used that team, and I was having an absolute blast. The amount of free reactions you get and the amount of physical damage bonuses you're getting is just so much fun. It was allowing my Razor to deal so much more damage than he ever usually does, and I was just absolutely having a blast with this team. As you know, Xinyan is a great physical DPS support, and getting those pyro procs were also super fun. I just think this is a team that everybody should try out if they have Xinyan or any of these other characters. Certainly had a great time with it. I'd say the only downside of this team is that it is a unique element team, so it doesn't have any elemental resonance other than getting the elemental resistance of 15% to all elements, which is pretty good, but obviously sometimes the elemental resonance bonuses can be very, very strong for a team. However, I think this team doesn't even need it, as the combo between all these types of characters just creates such a strong team. Moving on to our second team here, we have the support squad with Xinyan, Xiangling, and Qiqi, as well as Xingqiu. This is a very fun team as well, and it does get the bonus of the Fervent Flames, which gives you that increased attack percent, which is very nice. And the really cool part about this team is that it might be one of the best physical DPS carries with Xiangling, as her with Crescent Pike is absolutely insane, because the extra procs of damage that Crescent Pike does can crit, and therefore you can just do insane amounts of damage. So if you really get her going with the physical damage and, you know, some crit rate and crit damage, you can really make her an extremely strong carry, as well as constantly get a ton of high damage vaporized procs from having a support like Xingqiu, as his swords will constantly be applying wet, and his elemental burst will constantly be doing damage, pairing extremely well Xiangling's abilities as well as Xinyan's shield, giving that extra pyro damage as well. This also gives you the potential to get those melt procs as well, so you're more often than not getting the 2 times damage type of deal. I'd say this definitely is weaker than the other team, as it doesn't have a way to keep everybody together, and that is often your problem with having a character like Xinyan, as she really needs them to be together to get the shield to get the damage over time. However, this is still a very strong team, especially for single target DPS, where you don't necessarily get the damage over time for Xinyan. However, you have a very strong single DPS like Xiangling with Crescent Pike. There's also a really nice healer bonus here, as Qiqi and Jean really do like doing physical damage, as you can heal your team even more effectively by auto-attacking with them. So having this shield is also very beneficial for them. It's going to protect them while they heal the rest of your team. And not only that, you can also swap out Xiangling with somebody like Bennett, as Bennett is a really high DPS character, especially when he's inside of his elemental burst. The kind of flow you want to have in his elemental burst is auto attack 3 times and then use his skill, because that is going to be the most efficient damage. I believe that even stays on par with Diluc if you do it in that order, and you can imagine having Xinyan shield with Bennett doing that is just increasing his DPS even more, making him deal absolutely stupid amounts of damage. And if you actually pair something like Xingqiu's elemental burst there, you're going to be getting those vaporized procs, and you can see how this team can certainly get out of hand, and definitely has the nice little cherry on top of having that extra attack percent, as it just makes it that much stronger. Moving on towards Team 3, we have the kind of reaction-based team. This is one that doesn't really focus on the physical DPS aspect of Xinyan, and more focuses on the aspect of the damage over time pyro effect. I certainly wouldn't say this is the most effective way to play Xinyan, but it is certainly fun. Like, I really enjoy using Tartaglia here, as Tartaglia deals tons of hydro damage and often has a problem of being the only character on the field, so you need other abilities that stay on the field to react with his hydro, and that's kind of where Xinyan comes in, because she always has that damage over time shield, which, you know, stays on top of you. So even if you're throwing your enemies across the field with Tartaglia, you're still going to be getting those free vaporized procs. It's going to be extremely nice. And then you also have people like Beidou, who her elemental burst pairs really well with Tartaglia, providing that electro charge damage all the time, you know, around him. So basically you're kind of using Xinyan or Beidou to get those different surrounding effects to deal those different elemental reactions. You can also even use somebody like Barbara, where her E skill wets the enemy, so people like Beidou and Xinyan will still be able to get those reactions. And whenever your Tartaglia is on cooldown, you could easily build Beidou to also be a secondary DPS, as she does fantastic damage on her own, and then you could take advantage of the physical damage aspect of that. And you're also getting the nice Soothing Waters effect here, which increases incoming healing by 30%, making Barbara, who's already a stupid good healer and broken healer, if your team dies, that was just you not paying attention. That's just kind of how it is. You know, Barbara heals so much if you just build her even half properly, that if you have this elemental resonance on with Barbara, you're basically never going to die. Unless you get one hit, obviously, but with Xinyan's shield and Barbara's healing combined, I would doubt that would happen. Anyway, I think this team is a lot of fun. You get all those elemental reactions happening constantly, kind of like the first team, except, you know, you don't have to use physical damage as much, which definitely doesn't play into Xinyan's strength, but I still thought could be a really fun contender for those of you who play characters like me. You know, like I play Tartaglia all the time, so this is kind of how I'm probably going to be using Xinyan, as I just find it kind of fun. And then finally, moving on to our first free-to-play friendly team. Yes, I actually have 2 this time, because I came up with 2 that I really like. And this first one here has Xinyan, Xiangling, Noelle, Kaya, and with the option of swapping Xiangling with Lisa, and I'll get into that in just a second. You also have the nice Fervent Flames elemental resonance here, getting that attack up by 25%. And obviously you're going to be using somebody like Xiangling as your main DPS, with that Crescent Pike is just going to be dealing that much damage. And then you can also get the additional protection and healing from Noelle, keeping your team safe. And then Kaya is also a great secondary DPS that is going to be able to provide melt, first of all, and then also have really strong scaling on his normal attack, so he's a good physical DPS option in his own right. And the reason I consider swapping out with somebody like Lisa, or even Fischl, by the way, I had wanted to keep this as free-to-play friendly as possible, because free-to-play is getting a little weird now that some of the free-to-play options are gone now. Like, the event Fischl isn't here anymore, so if you're just starting, you can't get Fischl anymore, so I try to keep it more centered towards that. But anyway, The point is, I put Lisa here to potentially have Kaya as your main DPS, since his normal attacks do scale so hard that he can be a very good physical DPS, especially Xinyan's shield. And if you replace Zhongling with Lisa, you give up the elemental resonance, but you gain the ability to proc superconduct. So that can definitely weigh the scales in different directions. I haven't been able to test which is actually more effective numbers wise. I'm not really a huge math guy, but you can see the potential there. And I'll leave it kind of up to you guys as to which one you think is more effective right there. But I think this is a very strong free-to-play friendly team, and it could even be improved upon. And I think the one that I would go with if I was pure free-to-play is actually the next one. The next one being our Team 5 here, we have our free-to-play with Xinyan, GOMC, Barbara with an option of Lisa or Official. We went over that earlier. This one doesn't have an elemental resonance, but it does have the GOMC, which I think a lot of people sleep on, especially as a free-to-play character, because of the fact that you gain the crit rate in the GOMC's elemental burst, and all of his talents have the +3 since his constellations are free through the story, so you're just getting his talents up even more, so he can deal a lot more damage than other people, and his talents are a lot easier to get higher and deal those bigger damage numbers. So I think having him as a main physical DPS, which he kind of excels at already, could be very strong, especially pairing with Xinyan getting that extra physical damage bonus. And then if you pair it with Barbara and Xinyan, you'll just be getting free Vaporize procs. You could also be getting things like Electro Charge with Lisa and Barbara as well. Just, you can kind of get all of your reactions, and all of these kind of abilities can stick around with the GOMC. So I think he's a very good contender to be on the field at all times, protecting himself with his first ability and creating a lot of energy with his elemental burst, as well as bestowing crit rate and dealing huge amounts of physical damage while getting free reactions from all the rest of the team. I think this is a pretty fun team. I've been kind of messing around with the GOMC lately, and I actually kind of like the way they play. Once you get used to how the skill actually operates, it's actually pretty darn fun, and I highly recommend this as a free-to-play option as well. Those are our team comps for Xinyan. I really enjoy the way she plays. It's been an absolute blast. The first team especially, I just kind of memed around in Spiral Abyss 5, and I actually went all the way to like Spiral Abyss 9, just having a blast playing with that team. It was way more effective than I thought it would be, and I had like a level 49 Xinyan and a level 20 Chi-Chi, and they were just mopping the floor with everybody because all the reactions and the amount of physical damage bonuses I was giving Razor was just absolutely insane. And I think they are just a really strong team all together. And I can't wait to make more videos like these. These obviously take a lot of time, but I will be doing more of these in the future as well. And as always, let me know if you enjoyed the video below. Leave a like, comment, subscribe for more, all those fun things. But anyway, my name is Blossoms, and I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Peace.